Welcome back. Today we will be doing illustration 35 from the chapter Retirement of a Partner. X, Y and Z were partners in a firm sharing profits in the ratio of 1 by 2, 1 by 3 and 1 by 6 respectively. Their denominators are not same. We have to make it same. The balance sheet of the firm is given and we are asked to prepare journal entries for the treatment of goodwill. We have to prepare revaluation account, partners capital account and balance sheet of X and Y after Z's retirement. First, let's show the journal entries for treatment of goodwill. You can see there is an existing goodwill in the balance sheet. It has to be distributed among the partners in the old profit sharing ratio. The journal entry will be partners capital account debit to goodwill account. So, X capital account debit, Y's capital account debit, Z's capital account debit to goodwill account. Existing goodwill written off. Existing goodwill written off. It should be distributed among the partners in their old profit sharing ratio, which is 1 by 2, 1 by 3 and 1 by 6. We have to make the denominator same. So LCM will be 6 into 3 into 2. So it will be 3 is to 2 is to 1. The value of existing goodwill is 60,000. It should be distributed among the partners in 3 is to 2 is to 1 ratio, which will be 30,000, 20,000 and 10,000. The goodwill value is 60,000. Existing goodwill written off. Next, the goodwill of the firm is given. Goodwill of the firm is 3 lakh. We have to find Z's share of goodwill. Z is retiring. So Z's share of goodwill is 3 lakh into his share. Z's share is 1 by 6. 1 by 6. It will be 50,000. Okay. Z's share of goodwill will be contributed by X and Y in their gaining ratio. Since no information about the gaining ratio is given, we can take old ratio as gaining ratio. It is 3 to 2. Z is retiring, so it is 3 to 2. So distribute 50,000 in the ratio of 3 to 2. It is 30,000 and 20,000. Okay, so this 50,000 is contributed by X and Y in their gaining ratio. The entry will be gaining partners capital account debit to retiring partners capital account. Here the gaining partners are X and Y. X capital account debit, Y's capital account debit to Z's capital account. So Z will be credited with 50,000 and X and Y will contribute 50,000 in 3 to 2 ratio. Z's share of goodwill contributed by X and Y in gain ratio. Okay, that's all. Okay, we have passed journal entries for the treatment of goodwill. So the next one, we have to prepare revaluation account. Okay, let's see. First one, goodwill of the firm. Okay, that's over. Value of patent is to be reduced by 20% and that of machinery to 90%. The value of patent is 1 lakh. and machinery is 5 lakh. In the balance sheet, okay, the value of patent is reduced by 20%. So there is a reduction by 20%. The value of patent is being reduced by 20%, which we have to find 20% of 1 lakh, that is 20,000. It is reduced by 20,000. So patent is an asset is reducing. It will be posted on the debit side of revaluation account to patent. Patent account value is 20,000. Okay, the machinery reduced. The machinery also is reduced to 90%. The machinery is reduced to 90% too, which means there is a reduction of 10%. 10% of 5 lakh is 50,000. So there is a reduction of 10%. The value of machinery is reduced to 90%. So on the debit side of revaluation account to machinery account, 50,000 the value reduced. Provision for doubtful debt is to be raised to 6%. Okay, the value of debtor in the balance sheet is 4 lakh. And there is already a provision for doubtful debt which is 20,000. Provision for doubtful debt. The value of provision for doubtful debt is to be raised to 6%. To 6%. So, what is the current percent? We have to find what is the current percent first. To find the percentage, 20,000 by 4 lakh, 1 by 20 into 100. It will be 100 by 20, which is 5%. So, currently the provision for doubtful debt is 5% of 4 lakh. It has to be raised to 6%. So there is an increase in the value of provision for doubtful debt, which is a loss. So it has to be recorded on the revaluation debit side of revaluation account to provision for doubtful debt account. And what is the value? The value should be raised to 6%. So let's find 6% of 4 lakh, 6 by 100, which is 24,000. Currently the value is 20,000 in the balance sheet, so it has to be raised by 4,000. So there is an increase of 4,000. 4,000 is the value to be recorded on the revaluation account. Okay, the next one, liability for workman's compensation of 60,000 is to be accounted. So there is a claim of 60,000. Workman's compensation reserve is in the balance sheet, you can see 1,20,000, and there is a claim of 60,000. So the journal entries, the claim is less than the reserve. So the journal entry will be workman's compensation reserve account debit to workman's compensation claim account, and the remaining will be distributed to partners capital account. 1,20,000, 60,000 claim, and 60,000 to partners capital account. Partners are X, Y, and Z. So there is nothing to be posted on revaluation account. And the next one, Z took investments at market value. So in the balance sheet, the value of investment is 1,50,000 and the market value is 1,76,000. So Z is taking over investment at market value. The entry will be Z's capital account debit to investment account. The value is 1,76,000 and investment. There is a raise of 26,000. So it will be recorded in the revaluation account. Investment account debit to revaluation account. Asset is increasing, so it is credited to revaluation account. The amount is 26,000. thousand. It has to be posted on the credit side of revaluation account by investment. By investment account 26,000. Next one, yeah, that's all in the revaluation account. Nothing more to be posted on revaluation account. So let's total the sides. Okay, debit side is more than the credit side. So it is a loss, revaluation loss. If the balancing figure comes on the credit side, it means it's a loss. So the loss will be transferred to partner's capital account by partner's capital account. X, Y, and Z capital account. Okay, there's loss. There is a loss of 48,000. 48,000. And this 48,000 will be distributed among the partners in their old profit sharing ratio, which is 3:2:1. That is 24,000, 16,000, and 8,000. It's a revaluation loss. That's all in the revaluation account. Now let's prepare partners capital account. First, let's post the capital of the partners, which will be the opening balance by balance carried down in the balance sheet. Capitals of the partners given 6,80,000. It will be the opening balance 3,20,000 and 2,10,000. Next, let's post the revaluation loss. It will be on the debit side of capital account to revaluation account. It is 24,000 X, Y, and Z. 16,000 and 8,000. Next one. Now let's post the goodwill. There was existing goodwill which we distributed among the partners. The entry was X capital account debit, Y's capital account debit, Z's capital account debit to goodwill account. So on the debit side to goodwill account, we had prepared journal entries. If you remember, 30,000, 20,000, and 10,000 existing goodwill written off. And now the Z's goodwill, share of goodwill was contributed by gaining partner. We had also posted journal entries for that. The journal entry was X capital account debit, Y's capital account to Z, and gaining partner's capital account debit to retiring partner's capital account 30,000, 20,000, and the total was 50,000. So this has to be posted in partner's capital account. Z's account will be credited with Y's and X capital account. So on the credit side, by X capital account by Y's capital account 30,000 and 20,000. Similarly, X and Y's capital accounts will be debited with Z's capital account. So on the debit side, the Z's capital account on the 30,000 and 20,000. That's all. Next one, in the balance sheet, there is workmen's compensation reserve and investment fluctuation reserve on the liability side. It has to be distributed. Employees provident fund should not be distributed because it's a liability. It is not distributed among the partners. So workmen's compensation reserve, there's the value is 1,20,000 and there was a claim of 60,000 and the remaining 60,000 is distributed among the partners. The journal entry was workmen's compensation reserve account debit to partners, that was to X capital account, to Y's capital account, to Z's capital account. The value was 60,000. It was distributed in the ratio of 3 is to 2 is to 1 old ratio, which is 30,000, 20,000 and 10,000. So on the credit side of partners capital account by workman's compensation reserve account, 30,000, 20,000 and 10,000. So workman's compensation reserve is distributed. Now investment fluctuation reserve, the value is 60,000. It also has to be distributed among the old partners in old profit sharing ratio. The journal entry will be investment fluctuation reserve account debit to partners capital account. So on the credit side of partners capital account to investment fluctuation reserve account. 60,000 is distributed in the ratio of 3 is to 2 is to 1, which is 30,000, 20,000 and 10,000. And what is there to distribute is on the asset side, there is advertise. Sorry. So on the asset side, there is advertisement suspense, which is deferred revenue expenditure. It also has to be distributed to all partners in the ratio of 3 is to 2 is to 1. Advertisement suspense, the value is 36,000. It will be distributed among the partners in the ratio of 3 is to 2 is to 1, which is 18,000, 12,000 and 6,000. And the journal entry is partners capital account debit to advertisement suspense account. So it will be on the debit side of their capital account to advertisement expenditure account. It's deferred revenue expenditure. Advertisement suspense is a deferred revenue expenditure. The value is 18,000, 12,000 and 6,000. Okay, there is nothing more to be distributed in the balance sheet. In the adjustment, fifth question, Z took investments at market value. One of the partner is taking over investment at market value. So the journal entry will be Z's capital account to investment account. 1,76,000 is the value. So it will be recorded on the debit side of revaluation account to investment account. 1,76,000. Now amount due to Z is to be as follows: 50% on retirement. So what is the amount due to Z? We have to find what is the amount due to Z. For that, we have to add all those on the credit side and subtract all those on the debit side. We have to add all this and subtract all this. Okay, when we add 2,10,000, 30,000, 20,000, 10,000 and 10,000, we will get 2,80,000. 2,80,000. And from 2,80,000, we have to subtract 8,000, 10,000, 6,000 and 1,76,000. The total will be 2 lakh. We have to subtract 2 lakh. When we add all this, we'll get 2 lakh. So the difference is 80,000. 80,000 is the amount due to Z. And 50% was paid on retirement. 50% of 80,000 is 40,000. So 40,000 is paid on retirement. The journal entry will be Z's capital account debit to bank account. Z's cap account debit to bank account. So on the debit side of capital account to bank account, the value is 40,000. Next, 50% of the balance by check on 30th June 2025. On 30th June 2025. The balance is being paid on 30th June 2025, and they are issuing a check. So the journal entry will be Z's capital account debit to bank account. So the remaining is 40,000. 40,000 has to be paid to Z, and 50% of 40,000 they are paying by check, which is dated on 30th June. So the 50% of 40,000 is 20,000. For 20,000 they are giving check. So the journal entry will be Z's capital account debit to bank account. 20,000. The next one, and the balance within 1 year. So they will be paying balance of 20,000. Now the balance of 20,000 is remaining. From 80,000 they paid 50% on retirement. That then remaining 40 left, and from 40 50% was paid by giving a check. The remaining 20,000 is left. For that, they will be paying it within 1 year. So this 20,000 will be transferred to Z's loan account, and the journal entry will be Z's capital account debit to Z's loan account. So on the debit side, to Z's loan account, remaining 20,000. So that's all. We have posted everything. Now let's balance the sides. Now Z side is balanced. Here the total is 3,60,000 and 7,40,000. So there is a difference. So the balancing figure comes on the debit side to balance carry down. The balancing figure is 6,38,000 and 2,92,000. So both the sides are balanced. I hope everything is clear. Now we have to prepare balance sheet. So let's prepare balance sheet. Balance sheet of X and Y as on 1st April 2025. In their old balance sheet, cash at bank, the value of cash at bank was 57,500. 57,500. But there is, so after the adjustments, which means on the date of retirement, the 50% of the amount due was paid through bank, that is 40,000. This 40,000 has to be reduced from bank minus 40,000. The value is 17,500. This 20,000, which was also, they had also issued a check of 20,000 to Z, but it won't be subtracted because the check was dated on 1st June 2025, and we are preparing balance sheet on 1st April. So that amount won't be subtracted. Only this 40,000 will be subtracted. So the remaining is 17,500. On the balance sheet, cash at bank is 17,500. The next one, debtors. In the old balance sheet, there is debtor. The value of debtor was 4 lakh, and the provision for doubtful debt was raised to 6%, which was 24,000. So in the old balance sheet, the provision for doubtful debt was 20,000. It has raised to 6%. So it has raised to 24,000. So it will be 3,76,000. The value of debtor is reduced to 3,76,000. In stock, there was no adjustment on stock. So same amount, 3,76,500. Now investment. Investment is taken over by Z. So investment is gone. There's so nothing will be posted on balance sheet. Now patents. Patents is reduced by 20%. So in the new balance sheet, the value of patent will be 1 lakh. The old value is 1 lakh. It is reduced by 20%, which is 20,000. The remaining is 80,000. So this 80,000 is the new value of patent to be posted on balance sheet, new balance sheet. Then machinery, the value was 5 lakh. In old balance sheet, the value was 5 lakh. It was reduced to 90%, which means reduced by 10% minus 50,000. The new value is 4 lakh 50,000. Goodwill, next one, goodwill. It was distributed, and advertisement suspense was also distributed. So on the asset side, nothing is more to be posted. Now on the liability side, in the old balance sheet, you can see creditors, trade creditors. There was nothing, no adjustment on creditors. So the value is same, 2,10,000. Now workman's compensation reserve. There was a workman's compensation reserve of 1,20,000, and there was a claim of 60,000, and the remaining 60,000 was distributed among the partners. So now what should be recorded in the new balance sheet is the claim. So claim, a workman's compensation claim is a liability, so it has to be posted on the new balance sheet. 60,000. And next one, employees provident fund. Employees provident fund. It's a liability. It was not distributed, so that the amount is transferred to new balance sheet. And investment, next one, investment fluctuation reserve was distributed among the partners, so it won't be recorded. And now what we have to record this 20,000. It's a liability. We had issued a check of 20,000, so it's a liability. It has to be posted on the liability side of balance sheet. So bills payable. It's a liability to be paid in the future. Amount is 20,000. That's all. Okay, bills payable is recorded now. Z's loan account. That also has to be recorded. Z's loan. The amount is 20,000. Okay, we have recorded Z's loan account, and that's all. Now we have to record the balancing figure, that was the capital of X and Y. X capital, Y's capital. 6,38,000 and 2,92,000. Now let's see if both the sides are balanced. If both the sides are not balanced, it means something is wrong. Sorry. If the liability side and asset side are not balanced, it means something you have done is wrong. Okay, both the sides will be 13 lakh. That's all.